Pas encore.
Just a very short word to say how happy, honored, thrilled. I cannot find all the words I would like to say to you. We're so happy to host this moment with you. You will read, you will sign, you will talk, you will inspire us so much. So we are super, super, super happy to have you, Tilda, with us tonight, on the occasion also of your exhibition at the Eye Film Museum in Amsterdam. And there's this book, Tilda Swinton, Ongoing, a lovely book, more than that, so inspiring. So voila, thank you Tilda, to be at 7L, place you knew when Carl was with us. It was his former photo studio, so you've been there for the little black jacket
standing here, and I remember exactly.
So I leave you the floor. This moment will be followed by a signing here, I guess. And again, thank you so much.
No, it's really beyond an honour to be here. It's truly a pleasure, and very much in the mode of this book, because, as I said, I was here last with Carl. He was photographing me for his little black book project, which was like a production line, but everybody was coming away, another person away, the same jacket we all wore. And so to be here, it feels, as I'm sure I'm not the first person to say, different but the same. The fact that all of these books are as Carl left them, and all the ghosts and all the connections are still living and reverberating. It's very much in tune with what this book is, because the Eye Museum in Amsterdam, if you don't know it, do go. I mean, not necessarily for my show, but go to that museum, because it's a really, really great institution. Has, by the way, one of the great archives, film archives, on the planet. There are 2 or 3, and they are absolutely supreme. And they asked me to make an exhibition there a few years ago, and I immediately said no, because I had a failure of imagination. I thought, what could a show be of me? It can only be a retrospective, and I was not interested in a retrospective at any point, actually, but particularly not then. And I was also very bemused. I had been working for 35 years. I had made too many films, made too many faces, and I was a little lost in the woods. And it was only when I slowly developed this realization that I asked myself, what could a show be? What use could it be? How could it be useful, particularly for younger people? I thought, well, if there's one thing that I stand for and am the poster child for, it's fellowship and long, ongoing relationships with my collaborators. And my filmography is made up of, a few one-night stands, very few, but long relationships over many decades with a handful of people. And so I asked the museum if I could focus on that, and more, if I could make new work with them. And amazingly, they said yes. And so this started life as a catalogue of the show, but it's not actually a catalogue of the show, because it had to be ready before the exhibition was ready, and the exhibition has all this new work in it. So what this book is first of all a flip book. I like its user-friendliness. The sort of basic gesture of this book is conversations with these 8 collaborators, who are people that I've worked with and continue ongoing to work with very closely. Conversations written in the book, and a lot of pictures. And the first conversation that is really important, which is the first section of my exhibition, is the only conversation I wasn't able to have reciprocally, which is with Derek Jarman, because he's no longer with us. I mean, he's still with me, but he's not able to talk back. So I want to read you my contribution in the Derek Jarman section of this book, which is the sort of first, it's the original section of my working life. I'm just trying to find it now, flip past many, many photographs to come to it. I wrote him a letter. I've written him several letters since he died, some of which have been published, and this is the most recent. It's called Your Forever Shoes. And the reason it's called Your Forever Shoes is that there was this very memorable moment which he writes about in his extraordinary book Modern Nature, which I'm sure is somewhere on these shelves, when he had a few months to live, when he talks about looking in the window of a shoe shop and wondering about whether to buy a new pair of shoes, and realising that the shoes he was wearing would walk him out of life. He always wore the same leather shoes. Dear Derek, this evening I watched a scrap of documentary footage made during the shooting of Edward II. Shot by Seamus, sent by Simon. A relic and a depth charge. Out of the blue, with little warning. A trapdoor into the past. There we all were, at Bray Studios in the chilly spring of 1990, large as life. Simon and Sandy, Morag and Christopher, Keith and Sarah Swords and Steve Clark Hall, Seamus, Peter Tatchell, Annie Lennox, Sublime, singing Cole Porter, the Outrage Kids discovering Cliff Richard recording in the studio next door and gate-crashing his session, calling on him to come on out of the closet, Sarah with her hands in her hair on the phone to the Evening Standard, next day's front page of the Daily Mirror, you giggling about Cliff cottaging in a fake moustache, me teasing you about being finally linked with Cliff in the papers, two bachelor boys, all of us full of beans and so happy together, and working, working, working. Meanwhile, you counting your breakfast of pills and gulping them down with a cup of tea. Later in the shoot, you became suddenly ill and had to be hospitalised. Poor dear Ken Butler, your gallant assistant, had to take over and steer the ship into safe harbour. You left the building 4 years later, wrapped in Edward's sparkly golden robes. You were canonised St. Derek of the Celluloid Knights of Dungeness by the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence on the brilliant shingle in 1991. These facts I know. I remember them crisply and without emotion somehow. I've said them enough times with my shoulders back and my chin up. But when I saw you walking this evening with that jaunty sort of bounce you had, I remembered with a jolt that Nicholas Ward Jackson always called you Thumper, the eager rabbit from Bambi. And when I saw your blue jacket and your favourite green Pentel rollerball in your breast pocket, and your brown leather Forever shoes, and the scrapbook of the film in your hands as you drew a doodle of Cliff's unreliable moustache, and that twinkle in your eye, and you scrunching up your nose in amusement, and stalking about with glee, I suddenly missed you with such a violent shock that I was quite winded. Ghosts and film can do this to us, bludgeon us with the fact of time when we least expect it, just when we've convinced ourselves it doesn't actually leave a mark. Draw us back as the tide goes out and spit us back up onto the drying shore. Being bereaved in this stretch of human history when such an ambush is possible by candid, as if shot yesterday, home movie footage, red in tooth and claw, is a brutal business. Even 35 years later, the atmosphere on that set, the faces, everyone so familiar and so casually present. Just around the corner, a trick of the light, now vanished into the skirting board, like so many sleek mice in the night. It's been 31 years since I saw your particular face, 32 since we last bedded in a plant or brewed a pot together. Keith gone, Christopher gone, Sandy and Simon and Morag and I in closer touch than ever, counting our blessings on the regular and making plans. Here's the magic. Some things change, but maybe the really important things never do. Ongoing, to be continued, ad infinitum. I'm older now by a dozen years than you were when you slid away. 2 children, grown and beautiful. 40 years of adventures in the cinema salt mines, and still no sign of giving up. Bright horizons. You were my OG dance partner in optimism. You told me, as we scrambled late to catch our plane home from Rome one day, how important it is to leave things undone in a beloved place to make sure of a return. I have been diligently sewing undone things around my fleet feet ever since I last saw you, planting wishes and laden promises in faith, with my eyes ever upward. There is an exquisite cinema museum in Amsterdam, Film Museum as it happens, that has given me a show, an exhibition in which to reflect on what I've been up to all these years. It's hard to believe that I would ever have the nerve to take on such a thing, but against all my expectations, I've done just that. But the only reason I have found that nerve is because of all my buried treasure underfoot, thanks to you. The perpetual, life-sustaining happiness I have found in embarking for 4 decades so far on exhilarating voyages in the making of work with a pretty heavenly host of comrades, born out of friendship and shared curiosity. An echo of what bound us together, you and I, all those years ago, when I went to see you to talk about a film and basically never really left. You always told us that you yourself were the beneficiary of your forerunners, your mentors and idols, that they were your company and that we were too. So, we go forward, onward, and with our spirits evolving towards new plantings, enlivening, light, fresh snow. On my desk is a small and perfectly formed jade plant, a tiny tree, a cloud of wee, plump, green bean-like leaves. It is a great, at least, grandchild of the first plant that you ever cared for, aged 7. It's a very merry-hearted soul, settled on the light walnut, under the big looking glass, as I write. When the time comes, I will plant it out in the garden, and one day place here its descendant. It likes the light. I'm only giving it a cup of water every Sunday, I promise. To be continued on all fronts, with all my love, your Tilda. And I also want to share with you something that is on the very back of the book. It's actually in the middle of the book, but it's in my handwriting, and my handwriting is pure hieroglyphics. And so Rizzoli very cleverly put it on the back in print so you can read it. This is a piece of writing that I was asked to offer a sentence by a friend last year, a sentence of encouragement about these times. And for some reason, this slipped out. I call it Notes for Radical Living. Make friends with chaos. Hold a calm mind. Let things shake. Forgive human frailty. Champion second chances. Defy unkindness. Reverence fellowship. Listen to the quiet. Respect the young. Seek growth. Trust in change. Treasure learning. Inspire faith in evolution. Hold faith in miracles. Look beyond the binary. Be wary of the doubtless. Honor the bright-headed. Grow plants. Attend to the weather. Be electric. Cherish language. Celebrate silence. Dance daily. Bless the handmaid. Magic up fresh beauty. Sing into pain. Find joy in shadow. Challenge assumptions. Follow the wind. Look upwards. Swoon under clouds. Feel your courage. Face forward. Read history. Open your ears. Drop your shoulders. Bend your knees. Raise the roof. Keep breathing. Be trustworthy. Take care of yourself. Believe in goodness. Head for the light. What an honour to share.
So, on va commencer la signature. We start the signing here with a higher table.